Hi, I'm Carla Veriglati, and this is Rewiring with Carla V. Life can shift, sometimes suddenly, sometimes quietly. These are the conversations about the change that rearrange us, because you may not have chosen the rewire, but you still get to choose who you are and who you become. So let's get into it. Welcome. Hi, I'm Carla, and this is Rewiring with Carla V. This isn't just another podcast. It's my podcast. It's a space for real conversations with real people, a lot of my friends and family. And we're going to be talking about change, our experiences, our identities, our love, our loss, our growth, rebuilding, and what it means to keep going when life doesn't follow the script you thought or hoped it would. And of course, the messy middle. Before we can arrive at this place of retrospection, it's uncomfortable. But that's what I call the messy middle. This is the space where the old life is gone. And I'm sorry you're grieving that. The new life is here that. And I'm excited that you haven't experienced it. And yet you're somehow supposed to keep functioning in between, which is just the worst, between family, kids, society. You might be feeling grief, which comes in so many different forms and stages, and we all can feel it differently at different times and in different ways. Confusion shows up in a lot of different things within each of us. You're wanting answers, but not only having a next step or no step in all of the muck, because the light, you're in it, the messy middle. And so we are going to talk about when plan A doesn't work, the messy middle, and then the journey forward. This is my first time hosting a podcast show. I'm not an influencer. I'm not an expert, but I do care deeply about me, you, our community, being a good neighbor, and leaving this place better than I found it. And just in the simplest ways. It doesn't have to be grand, but just the small things that add up to a big difference. And aren't you just a little curious why I'm willing to do all of this and throw it out there? Then come on, here's my story. Oh man, I thought my life would have looked like a certain way. I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I have a wonderful parents, an older brother. I was always told, follow these certain rules, go to college, get married, have kids. And I thought that was the plan. And then something really just changed. I did get married. I did go to college. And then I got divorced at a very young age of, the timeline's a little sketchy in my head, but 26, 27, when everybody else in their timeline was trying to start over. But this is where the show came from. Like the lived experiences. It's not therapy and it's not theory. And I've had a lot of both. And that also brings in all of my tools and advice that I want to share, because I feel like in today we don't share enough. And I want to share. Like there's no agenda for me. And so I'm putting it out there. So my plan A, like I mentioned a little earlier before, I thought I knew exactly what my life was going to look like. Like that college, I was happy, or I had a high school sweetheart, and I thought he was just going to be my forever guy. We met when I was 16. He was in a different community, and I really fell in love with his family. We went through college. It was up and down, had good experiences, met some good people, but a lot of my life was surrounded by him because that's what I did. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I honestly thought we were living the best dream. And then those things, as life starts happening, and it probably is always happening, but maybe you start paying attention. But right before we had got married, at the time, my husband had said, "Hey, we're going to move to DC." And I was able to negotiate a few topics with my family business that I worked for. And so then I moved to DC with him, and then things changed. It didn't work, and we got divorced. But that's what the show's not about. It wasn't just the end of the marriage that I didn't see coming. I had lost my life. I lost my friends. I lost my husband's family. I lost the relationship that I thought was permanent, that I had made a whole life plan around. I literally walked out of there with the clothes I had, a few items. I was in debt. I have, to this day, absolutely zero communication to my ex-husband from the day I saw him in the courtroom when our divorce was official. So that has left a lot of unanswered questions. And that messy middle has turned into really the tools and the rewire of my life. And that's brought me here. I had found some good tools. I threw myself into work. I threw myself into therapy. And that was really the process and the understanding of what the disruption that we don't plan for, and often those moments that really invite us to step into the real, meaningful, life-altering changes. I was confused. I was lonely. I was really uncertain. I didn't know who to turn to. I had no idea who I was. Some moments, I would tell you I had hope, and then it was mixed with heartbreak. I thought I would take 2 steps forward. I'd move 3 back, but then I would move 1 up. I wanted the answers now, don't we all? But not only having a next step or no step in that muck was just even kind of was like, who do I go to? After moving back home, talk about our real awakening, the real work began. You think that moment when that changes and that thing happens, you're like, my life's done, it's changed. No. I threw myself into work and becoming a successful businesswoman in a very male-dominated field, which I'm sure a lot of women in my age bracket, or even younger or older, have been in that spot with me. A lot of people were having kids. Moving forward, I started having some women health issues, if you can imagine. And I was also being told that I was going to be too old to have children. And I was only 27, 28. So, of course, that just added more to my loneliness, and my isolation persisted. But I also want to know, like, hey, I recognize your messy middle, and that's why I'm here. And that's why we're doing the show. But I really decided, and that was the biggest thing I can share for you. It was like that moment of after 18 months, 24 months, those timelines, I needed a change. I couldn't keep trying in the shower. I was already on medication. I was in therapy. I had a great family, had a great job. It was me. There was something inside me that I was missing. I had heard great stories. Love Oprah. Give me Oprah. And, you know, she used to do so many good things, and I used to try to emulate other people. But that was just also a facade. It wasn't me. It wasn't touching my heart. It wasn't making my brain. And so I literally had started taking more classes because I like to learn. I'm curious. Again, hence the podcast, Rewiring. I want to know. I do, for whatever reason. I want to help. I want to support. And so I took a certification class at Northwestern, and it was women in food service. And I'm around all these other women who were doing exactly what I was doing, working hard, but some of them also handling way more than I could imagine. Family, children, dynamics, that I was just trying to survive the day. And at one of the fireside chats, an executive at the time had said, you know, she had talked about some of the struggles of being a woman in business, which we all know them and have them. And this episode's not about sharing those stories, but she had mentioned that she got fired and needed something. And so she created her bucket list. And through our lives, we all hear about bucket list. And all of us kind of think, or I did, what's a bucket list? Who puts on a bucket list? But those are that question. What I'm trying to tell you is look deeper. Look at yourself and say to you, who am I? What makes me happy? But that could lead to what brings you true joy. Because life is hard. It's duality of life. And we're going to have good and bad. So you have to have some of those tools to get you through it. So once I went through all that, and I created the Year of Carla. So yeah, that sounds really egotistical. The Year of Carla, because you were crying in the shower every day? What the hell does that mean? What that means is I literally took this. It was on a notebook, piece of paper, so anybody can do this. And I wrote out the Year of Carla. You can see the date, deadline. I wrote this in 2013, and I literally put a deadline because I can't help myself. December 31st, 2014. And so today we sit here, we're in April of 2026. So I kept it and I framed it. And it took a little longer than I thought. But on the list, it had things that made me really uncomfortable and that I had never done. So it kind of sounds weird because everybody's list, again, is different. Volunteer. Who knew that would be such a pillar of my life today? But I knew it felt good, but I just didn't know what the hell that meant. Read the Bible. I'm still, every day, that's a struggle of trying to read it. It speaks to you differently. But then, I had done a lot of other things. Buy something fabulous, run a half marathon. I'll never do that again either. It says go skydiving. I did go skydiving. I said I never did it again. I did it again. I don't think I'll do it again. But looking back, the year of Carla, when you'll meet Petey on one of our episodes. He's my best friend, best pal. We went skydiving together. We also went to Ohio University, so we had depth and growth. But then that moment, and we were in this little dinker helicopter, didn't even read it because it was like, all right, let's see what happens. We're in Wisconsin. And he goes, you go first because you won't go. You won't go, but I want to make sure you go. And I'm wearing these pink and yellow, green tennis shoes in the air so you can find me. And you go out of there and you go, poof, and you do. And he came after, and I could see his shoes to this day. Those shoes, him, he's there. But I wouldn't have had that moment if it wasn't for the Year of Carla, be something crazy. And not to mention the people around it got excited too. So I encourage you, do the year of you. It doesn't have to be a bucket list. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it has to touch your heart. So ask yourself, what's the one thing? Two things. What can you do? Because remember, we only all have 100% in our day. So how are you going to divide it? I say this with respect, love for myself. And if you're going through it, and this is not for everybody, but my journey it was, I can even say thank you. And I'm grateful to my ex-husband and to the divorce. Again, we talked about the tools for navigation, how I got here, my story a little bit. The show offers stories, mindset shifts, the practical tools. I hope you do that. What's your list? Please write those down because, the favorite of mine is the Year of Carla and creating that bucket list of things that just really make you uncomfortable. A lot of things make me uncomfortable. And you have to find the courage, the hope, the spark. Hey, even if you just say yes because somebody called you, because a lot of my experiences, I literally just said yes because some people, I wanted friends. I wanted connections. And so I did things. And those saying yes have led me into the best situations with the most incredible people and experiences that I can never repay and have had the time of my life. And also, like I shared, I'm never going to run a half marathon again. But then also frame and remember those things you wrote down. Because in this society, in our instant gratification, long-term planning is hard. So you got to keep going back to it. And courage is hard. So you have to have daily reminders to keep you grounded, to keep your faith in yourself, into community, into something broader to bring you to that next level. And I return to this tool of Year of Carla every time I face a new rewire. Friendships are so and deeply important to me. They're hard. I thought I was a good friend. But then when he really defined friendship, I don't think I was. And so I have been reshaping friendships, and you're going to meet some of my closest friends, and we're going to learn about that. And I'm going to openly share because I don't want to be alone. I also know there are times to be alone, but when you want connection and community, you got to put yourself out there, and you got to make it too, which feels really uncomfortable because you got to leap and jump. I sold a family business with my family. That all happened during the last 15 years. So you're going to meet my dad, Jimmy V, the original Rewirer, my brother, who is older, by the way. He'll tell you he's not, Vinny V, and myself, and we're going to go through all that. And that's a whole thing in itself. Who can start a business, run it with over 200 associates, be in multi-states, and still have a family relationship to talk about it? Also, through all this, I became a stepmom in the last 14 years. And navigating stepmom and that dynamic and family dynamics is hard. And so we're going to go with that. Family dynamics in general are hard. And how do we talk about those? And when we lose people in those families that are important to us, even moving cities, we'll discuss. And then how I found me, how I continue to adapt and change. But today I know who I am because I know what my values are. I want this to be a place where you can be honest about where you are, still believe in what's possible. Like, yeah, really believe. Like when I was a kid, the idea of Disney World brought me joy. I want that for everyone. You know, I know that sounds like world peace, but I do. It's not that hard to find individual joy if you know what your joy is. And my dad, by the way, hates tattoos. Absolutely hates them. I hear about it all the time. So I got this one right here. Obviously, it's very clear, but that was pretty new. It's a phoenix. We burn and we grow and we die and we rise. But before that, right after my divorce, with my longest grade school friend, who I've gotten all my tattoos with, on a whim, I don't recommend that. I got hope tattooed on my stomach. It's pretty small, but it's not the prettiest. But it's that daily reminder of hope because it's hard. Especially today, feels whatever you might be dealing with. And remember, we only have that 100%. So every day feels like a game of Tetris. Just remember that because you have it. And I hope to share hope through the seasons. Because whether you're grieving, rebuilding, or simply questioning where you are, you're welcome here. Please. This is a show for the messy parts of life that doesn't fit into a social media caption, which I do struggle with of how to tell people what's going on. We're going to talk about what carries us forward. With courage. It's even sometimes asking yourself to find the courage. It's not even just having it. It's like, okay, what is the word courage? How can I learn more about it? It's love. The love of each other, the love of your neighbor, the love of ourselves, which sometimes for me is the hardest part. And also hope. I can't come back to it enough because without it, that light, even though it might not be out, becomes out without hope. We're going to talk about what carries us forward with courage, love, and hope. And so no matter the pain or the work required, this is a great space for you, and you're not alone. So I encourage you, as you leave the show, is what's on your bucket list? As you can see, I wrote mine on a notebook paper. Maybe yours is on a napkin, your notes in your phone. Email me or share it on social. I want to know. I'm your biggest fan. I want to encourage you along because you're not alone. This is a space for all of us. And so please share your bucket item list or maybe something that's going to make you uncomfortable. Remember, it doesn't have to be big, just the small things. So maybe it's that going out for that walk. Or for me, maybe this weekend, I'm going to go see that Pete the Troll that I've been dying to go see. And with that, this is Rewiring with Carla V.